Hello, and welcome to another entry onto the Meats playlist. I always say Meats because that is what it's named, but the other reason is because as this playlist progresses, not all of the products will necessarily be beef jerky, and that's the reason for that. We will be taking a look at this guy. I will be doing the product information from the back, the nutritional information, a little differently to cut down on time. You will know when you see it. This is the review of Jack Link's Teriyaki Beef Jerky. This is a net weight 2.85 ounce bag. That's about 80 grams. There are 3 servings in the container, all 1 ounce each, and if you're going, it doesn't make much sense, that's because it doesn't. Mathematically, that makes absolutely no sense. But 1 ounce servings. The information, the nutritional information that I am going to be putting up here that you can pause on the video when the time comes will be for the entirety of the bag. If you want to know each individual serving size, divide what you see by 3. That said, I don't know who would split this into 3 different servings. But for some reason, if you did, after 3 days, you must refrigerate the product. So it's by Jack Link's, obviously. All right. There is no added MSG, and there are no added nitrates. The Best Buy dates are in this, and you're probably not going to be able to see that. It is January 11th, 2023. Big selling point for this bagged store-bought jerky. It's always dated way out, all right? Even if you get a bag that's been sitting a while, it's usually still close to a year out. So you have their normal layout with a window, which you're not going to be able to really make much of because of all the glare. And there is that packet that we are not going to eat. Down here is the U.S. Agricultural Department certified, stamped, inspected. All right, and that is the weight of the bag. On the back, you have their little write-up sales type stuff, okay? Then you have a barcode over here. You have their satisfaction guarantee in the middle, and the fact that they're using a fresh lock Ziploc. On these bags, in my experience, especially since they've downsized the actual packaging, the Ziplocs are usually not engaged. Does not matter because until you tear off the top seam, the sealed seam, the bag is seamed on all sides. All right? So there's 2 notches. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. On either side, the Ziploc on this bag is not engaged, but that is fine. So then you have the ingredients list and the nutritional information. This is the nutritional information for the entirety of the bag. So if you want to pause the video to look it over, you can do that in 3, 2, and 1. And we're done. See how easy that was? Why it took me a year to come up with that, I do not know. But moving on, I'm going to open this up. Now, teriyaki is well, you know what? A lot of people probably don't know what teriyaki is. I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. Okay, it's got a rich teriyaki smell to it. And now everybody's really wondering, what is teriyaki? I never really thought about that. It's what they flavor beef jerky, right? No, it's not. So, you got some very... Holy crap. Okay. Okay. The pieces are usually not this big. This looks like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that didn't get completely separated. The Jack Link stuff, in my opinion, is straight cuts, full cuts, with bit formed mixed with it. All right. So this larger piece here is a straight cut, and so is this middle piece and this upper piece. But you got some bit form stuff in between that has been compacted in a way that has sealed the 3 straight cuts that I previously just pointed out into one thing, and now it's breaking along that. So let me dump this out. The interesting thing with these new the bags are smaller. They're the same size. They're still 2.85 net weight ounce. They have windows on both sides, so you can see through it. You could make... Never mind. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. So I'm going to take the thing that I'm not going to eat, but may very well lick later, and put it back in the bag, because I'm not really worried about the possible poison aspects of these things, to tell you the truth. It's the fact they're made in China. That's really my big deal with that. I'm kidding. That's a joke. Yeah, so, yeah, you got windows on both sides. This is what you're looking at in the bag. It's a good amount. I mean, they're not cutting corners on it by any means. I haven't had teriyaki for a while. It is as expected. All right. Well, I'm not going to go into the long version of this. This stuff is really gummy, though. And it's probably the way they're seasoning. This is another piece that meant to be 3. Very little shake because the product is gummy. The small shake is only a couple bits. We're talking stuff like that, and that's really it. There's no fine stuff at all. This is what teriyaki is. It's a Japanese, or rather a cooking process used heavily in Japan. A lot of people think teriyaki is Korean. There is Korean teriyaki. You got to understand that the Korean peninsula, from around the beginning of the 1900s to the end of World War II, was basically under Japanese control the entirety of that first half of the century. And it was basically a colony. So a lot of things that were originally Japanese carried over into basically general everyday Korean life. So teriyaki is actually a cooking process. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole aspect of the process, but it's usually used on poultry and fish, sometimes on pork. It is basically glazing the said meat with a mixture of soy sauce, mirin, and sugar. And everybody's going, what the hell is mirin? It's M-I-R-I-N. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I'm not sure because I'm not Japanese. It's basically a cooking wine. It's a rice wine, sort of like sake, only it's basically produced for cooking, so the alcohol level is brought down and the sugars in it are brought up. So soy sauce, mirin, and straight sugar is what the meat, whatever the meat is basted in before the cooking process. Then the process is after that. How close is the teriyaki here to a traditional in Japan teriyaki? I have no idea. I really don't know. I've had real teriyaki before in a Japanese restaurant, but it was over 20 years ago, and I couldn't really tell you. I'm guessing this is sort of like the mass-produced version. It's not true to original traditional form, but there's enough of an aspect where they can get away with calling it that. And that is that. You have now gotten the layman's version of what teriyaki is. You can thank me later. Anyway, so this stuff is pretty gummy. It's pretty pliable. There's little shake because of it. It's still a fairly firm chew, though. teriyaki is not something like this is not something I'd want to. I'd rather have just original beef jerky. But as a change, I can appreciate it. Jack Link's, I have some issues with Jack Link's stuff, but the thing about Jack Link's and the reason why I keep reviewing them is they're easily accessible to basically anybody in the United States that's watching this can go out to their local Walmart or their Target or their grocery store and find Jack Link's. All right? Jack Link's is not my preferred coast-to-coast brand. Okay? The Bridgeford products, Sweet Baby Ray's, those are. But Jack Link's, I mean, it's a large operation. And with a large operation like that, you have consistency. All right? So, yeah, there's nothing absolutely outstanding. If you want to see something beef jerky-wise, pre-bagged, pre-manufactured beef jerky that's absolutely outstanding, like I was like, oh my God, go into this playlist and go back to the GOAT beef jerky review. That was something to get excited about. But this is fine. And at $3.98 that I paid for it at checkout in a Walmart, this is all I expect for that price, and that's okay. So this has been my review of Jack Link's Teriyaki Beef Jerky in the 2.85 net weight ounce bag. And we've gone almost to 12 minutes because I got on a tangent about what teriyaki is. So I guess the whole showing the page thing is sort of backfired. Anyway, I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves. And as always, God bless.